Hi, this is Mohammad Zaryawali Saeed, and so basically, in this part of my presentation, I just want you to walk you through how I actually carried out the research for my paper. Not just what I wrote, but what happened behind the scenes. My topic focuses on how AI observability tools can strengthen master data management, especially around things like data quality and drift detection, explainability, root cause analysis, and compliance. And I'll explain which sources I used, which ones I deliberately rejected, and what skills I ended up developing along the way, the challenges I ran into, and honestly, what I feel actually achieved by the end of the whole process. So, let's begin. When I started, I basically broke my topic into small searchable components because there's no single source out there that talks about AI observability as well as MDM as one unified thing. So instead of looking for one perfect paper, I kind of built it myself from multiple angles. I searched things like AI driven MDM, data drift detection, XAI for governance, AI observability tools, and security in AI systems. I use databases like IEEE, Explore, and Google Scholar, and then I also looked at industry sources from tools like YLabs, Arise, and Fiddler, as well as Informatica, just to understand what real world systems are doing. So basically, that helped me create a mental map of what's actually happening and in the industry versus what's happening in academic research. So the sources that actually shaped the final paper were the ones that connected clearly to my four subtopics. For the evolution of MDM, I used papers that showed how we moved from the old rule-based systems to AI-assisted systems that do matching, cleansing, and validation much more intelligently. For data quality and drift detection, I relied on sources that focused on how bad data impacts model performance and how continuous monitoring can catch issues early. When it comes to explainability, the Lime, SHAP papers, and anything around metadata driven interpretability were really helpful. They basically helped me explain how explainable AI can be tied back into governance and auditing systems. So, for root cause analysis and security, I pulled together observability literature from the ML ops world and also some strong privacy and compliance papers, especially around GDPR and ethical monitoring. All these pieces together kind of gave me the foundation to build the argument in my paper. But I also rejected a lot of sources pretty intentionally. For example, I avoided vendor white papers that were basically advertisements. They explain features, but they don't give unbiased evidence. I also avoided older MDM sources that talked about MDM before AI became mainstream because obviously they didn't help me answer my current question. I also cut out observability papers that focused only on system logs or microservices since my paper wasn't about DevOps monitoring, it was about data and model monitoring that links back to MDM. And of course, some AI ethics papers were way too narrow or industry specific, so even though the ideas were useful, they did not fit the focus of my research. Basically, if a source didn't speak to MDM, observability, or at least one of my four pillars, I usually had to, let it go. So as I was doing all this, I realized that I was actually using and building quite a few skills. I got a lot better at systematic researching, picking the right terms, filtering out noise, and checking whether a paper was even worth reading beyond the abstract. I also improved my critical evaluation skills because I had to keep checking like, is this paper relevant? Is this peer reviewed? Is it recent enough? So, and honestly, the synthesis part was a huge skill builder as well, taking ideas from totally different areas like XAI, MDM, observability, security, ethics, and turning them into one coherent argument. And because I had to create diagrams and keep everything in a clean academic as you'll see in the paper itself, I also strengthened my technical writing and communication skills. Of course, there were some difficulties. One major challenge was that no one out there has built a unified framework for AI observability plus MDM in the exact way I needed. so I had to kind of create that narrative myself. Another challenge was avoiding repetition, because a lot of papers say very similar things about data quality for explainability, and balancing detail was tricky as well. I did not want to go too deeply into algorithmic math, because that wasn't the purpose of the coursework, but I also couldn't oversimplify. So basically, what I had to do was I had to find a sweet spot between technical accuracy and readability, and I hope that I have achieved this purpose. Um, by the end of it all, I feel like I achieved something meaningful. I managed to tie traditional MDM thinking with modern AI observability practices and show how they reinforce each other. I identified four concrete areas where observability actually adds real value to MDM, and I highlighted the open research gaps, the missing frameworks, the need for scalable observability, the ethical challenges, and the lack of benchmarking standards. So overall, the research process really improved my ability to search, filter, connect ideas, and build a structured, well-argued paper on a very modern and fast-moving topic. And I really hope that you like the paper, because I also got a good feedback from you that the paper was good, and I had to include some diagrams as well. So I've basically improved my paper, had a little discussion with you on that, and then finally I was able to complete it. So hopefully, thank you so much.